Okay, watching several K-pop idols involve themselves more and more into this fashion brand business every day, and the people who aren't even their fans lose their minds on it even more. Why not analyze what the big deal about ambassadorship is? Again, do please watch the video full length without standing up to defend or attack anyone. What's the whole concept of being ambassadors? Brand ambassadors are celebrities who promote the brand's particular product or fashion line. Global ambassadors do it all. They live the brand, they're the sole appeal to the brand that attracts the mass. House ambassadors are the same as brand ambassadors, they are the face of a specific brand of a fashion house. Namely, the biggest fashion houses of this day are Armani, Gucci, Louis Vuitton, Chanel, Balenciaga, Dior, Burberry, Yves Saint Laurent, Prada, and many more. So when did this start? Some say Big Bang, some say Girls' Generation, some even say Blackpink. But the question is, can attending fashion shows really be called the same as being brand and global ambassadors of the said brand? It's normal for idols to be the face/idol ambassador for a brand, they're mostly on the national level. Popularity goes hand in hand with these offers, and it's honestly just a way to earn more. G-Dragon was nonetheless the first one to create a connection between Western fashion houses and K-pop. He stood out, and soon there were a series of YG artists involving themselves with the ever-increasing fashion industry. He became Chanel's global ambassador in 2016. Following his footsteps, Jennie's favor towards fashion as a whole made her a brand ambassador in 2018 and finally a global ambassador in 2019. The way second-generation K-pop were so overpowered by the need of an ideal Korean beauty standard, that several groups with potential in fashion didn't get to take up gigs is sad. Currently watching Raw, just entered the scene idols like the New Jeans girls, can raise the question. Is ambassadorship this important or this irrelevant that they're attracting rookies to be their face? The whole criticism towards the ambassadorship versus K-pop arose very obviously due to Blackpink. Starting from Jennie, Lisa, Rose, and Jisoo, all had been promoted to global ambassadors for particular brands by 2020. Can anyone call this the impact of Blackpink's wide popularity since Do 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 Do? Maybe. Considering how from 2021 to middle 2022, all Blackpink's schedules consisted of were their Fashion Week looks, magazine shoots, or cover shoots, not including Lisa and Rose's solos. The question that's still brought up to this day, while they're actively participating in their world tour, is whether they even want to be idols. The tag of model is applied on them, mostly as an insult, because their hiatus on music but continuous participation in everything fashion and brand related was visible. A bit of the criticism was needed in my opinion, but is it really true? Modeling and ambassadorship are clearly very different terms. Considering the fact that all the Blackpink members ranked at the top of being the most influential during Paris Fashion Week, surpassing actual influencer like the Jenners, can even the influencer tag work on them? There's no doubt that having an Instagram following of that amount individually, along with that being successful popular artists, they would fare well in the new industry they're slowly involving themselves with. And the support Blinks have provided during a whole year of inactivity says it all, because growing a fan base this supportive with few music and even lesser inactivity is very shocking to explain better. This has earned the fandom criticism of supporting Blackpink in everything they do and not protesting. But let's be real, a fandom of the size of Blinks aren't controlled by a single mind. The fandom has lessened. You can see at least one person going "I used to be a Blink" in almost related video. There has been repercussions, but there's been a lot more support. You cannot have that many people be wired to follow a strict route even if we disregard the ones who left the fandom due to all of it. This is also similar to EXO, though their reach into the fashion industry was quite more less. They also had taken up gigs during their hiatus, but they had a reason for it, hence why Blackpink is comparatively attacked more of their fashion influence. We can see both EXO and NCT together including themselves into the fashion industry, and considering that both the groups are now rising, and with SM's history of their idols being ambassadors, it's fitting. SM works smart, and though they're not as deeply linked with fashion like IG has been, they've been working steadily to form that link. With HYBE it's a different topic. Because of New Jeans we saw them being promoted as ambassadors from the first step, while for Les Sserafim it's much more gradual, even though their concept relies a lot on modeling, if I'm not wrong. Why was New Jeans promoted towards fashion from the first step while it wasn't so for Les Sserafim? Because if it were me, I would rather promote a girl group who debuted with that concept. Is it just because how popular New Jeans has been comparative to the other in Korea? Or is it more about how Min Hee-jin has viewed the growth groups like Blackpink has shown just through this business? We also see BTS using their popularity to land their ambassadorship quests, though it's obvious the military duties are keeping them tight to their tenure. Though I do agree with the fact that BTS did get a lot of brand deals, which several brands have mentioned several times, I find it weird that HYBE waited this long for them to promote themselves individually. The rap line did have time to do so with their mixtapes, unlike the vocal line, but considerably vocal line gets more hype. Hence it would have been an easy passage for them to prepare a mode of promotion before their solo debuts. I just don't get why they waited this long. Each BTS solo member has influence some whole groups don't have, so it would have helped them both as a group and solos really. For JYP though, it's crickets. We saw last year how some of the Twice members attended Fashion Week, but then this year we didn't have anything. Stray Kids too, they've earned honorary positions as ambassadors, but why are they not getting / accepting global brand deals and ambassadorships? Is this something to do with how JYP doesn't promote their idols solo until absolutely required? I'll talk about this in another. Isn't it surprising how K-pop idols are targeted for being in the fashion business when there are several Western idols who have undergone hiatuses and taken up fashion gigs to earn? K-pop idols in fashion don't literally mean Korean pop music brought into it. They're very different, and it just proved that K-pop was never just about music. There are several factors that determine K-pop and for what it stands for. At the age where even rookie groups yearn for a Billboard 100, how can you complain about K-pop involving itself actively with fashion? Now this brings to my next point of fourth-gen idols warping themselves so early into ambassadorship, namely New Jeans. It is very obvious that the members were promoted with particular brands every time they showed up in public. Danielle for Burberry, Hanni for Gucci, Minji for Chanel, Hyun for Louis Vuitton, Hyerin for Dior. This is a very similar route to be a brand or a global ambassador. The celebrity is used in a few gigs, and they start breathing the brand everywhere they show up, and you just know it's just days till their name gets added to the ambassador list. Hype plays a very big role, and New Jeans do have hype, no lie about that. But they were also promoted for the brands since the very beginning, so it's not really surprising to see them get the brand deals. Thus you can't really say for sure that they got it due to their hype. Just consistency plays a big role too, and each of the 5 girls have showed just that from their very first step. And you just have the company to thank for that, because unlike Blackpink, who are seniors and have clarified multiple times that they choose their style on their own, for rookies like New Jeans there's 90% chance that's not true. Hence, company promotion. Now don't get me wrong, I'm not saying the company got them the brand deals though authentically to be seen. It is true for almost every idol. The New Jeans girls deserve it every bit. But are they ready for it? This question has arisen multiple times since the huge influx of brand deals for New Jeans, both for the group and each member. Is it right to have them pushed into this business so early? I don't blame Ader for pushing them, considering they clearly saw how well it worked for idols like Blackpink, who has maintained their status just through fashion gigs for 2 whole years. But Blackpink had at least a 4-year career push, and they weren't literally minors even during debut. Yes, I know, Minji is not a minor, but the others are, and one will not change the fact that New Jeans is a group of minors unless Hyun turns 18, and that is almost 4 more years into the future. Though it is very, very true that we, as people merely watching them through a screen, are merely guessing that they wouldn't be able to handle it, or they were pushed into it by Ader. For all we know, they chose it themselves. It's admirable how many brand deals they're snatching so soon into their career. But being careful is a thing, and we never know what will turn out in the future. 4th-gen artists are highly boosted in popularity thanks to 3rd-gen artists, and you have 4th-gen groups reflecting and paying respect to that on every step. And it's a great fact that 4th-gen artists are able to promote themselves into the fashion line so quick. K-pop as a whole means you need to be accustomed to various industries, and it's good they're focusing on both. On to what I wanted to talk about next. The whole war about ambassadorship achievements. They are achievements, no lie about that. A Korean pop star, being the global ambassador or even brand or house ambassadors to the biggest fashion houses and brands, I admire and I congratulate. If fans are congratulating them for it, supporting those interests, showing up at the fashion week to film them, I have no problem. The problem arises when fans make it seem bigger if not more important than the idol's music achievements. It's a problem when fans focus on fashion as something more than fashion. Like if we consider the situation where a model got mocked, not heavily I'll admit, for doing a nude catwalk in the Valentino show where Yoongi was also present. Or the time when there was a huge argument right there when Lisa and Taehyung went to attend together with Bogum. Or what about that time when? There are many. Reminder, I'm not attacking the fandom at all, but let's admit together there's a wobbly situation right there because why is there an argument based on who is the more important ambassador? Is it even surprising that in an industry where Korean artists are competing with Western artists in charts, streams and sales, they won't have an impact on any other deeply aligned industry to music? And the ambassadorship brings great promotion and publicity, because you an ambassador along with a singer means your brand will promote your music in return for you promoting their brand. It's basic maths, and fans are turning this into Google screenshots and Instagram telltales. The basic fact remains that ambassadorship and the huge growing link between K-pop and fashion houses is a great topic, a positive beneficial one to both parties, but it is not that big of an achievement. It belongs in the same parties as a Billboard entry. True for bigger fashion houses as the ones I already mentioned, it's something that should be hyped and supported because the tenure of ambassadorship will highly depend on how much your popularity gives to the affiliation. Thus, it's embarrassing if you're going on twitter.com to argue and write paragraphs on this, because whether your idol is a brand ambassador or a global, their impact remains the same. Being an ambassador of fashion houses of high importance cannot be disregarded just because they don't have global written on their name.